Hello everyone, my name is Bintou and welcome to my channel. So for today's video, I decided to finally film the BOOKTUbe newbie tag. I know this is usually most people's first video, but I just have to do everything backwards and sideways. So I'm finally getting around to it. I have to thank Will from the Book Barrel for pushing me to finally get this done. All right, so the first question, why did you start this channel? I basically have two words to explain that, quarantine boredom. So like most people, I found myself with a lot more free time and wondering, well, what am I gonna do with all of this time? And I tried a couple things. So first I decided, why don't I try learning to play the piano? And then I thought, well, now is a really good time to finally switch to clipping pedals on my bicycle. All right, you can do this. Clip out, clip in, clip out, clip in. I still fell. So after that, I was like, I should break out my calligraphy. That's still going. And when I finally got tired of yelling at my students over Zoom, guys, this assignment was due yesterday. Only 2 people turned it in. 2 people! I decided to start a BookTube channel. On a more serious note, of course, the main reasons for starting this channel is a love of reading and being able to share my reading experiences with people on the internet. You know, it would be impossible to begin and sustain a channel like this if I didn't really like to read. Second question, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? Well, I would say that the most unique thing that I could bring to BookTube is probably my repertoire of reading. So I feel like BookTube is mostly YA fantasy, and I don't read a lot of YA. And fantasy makes up a smaller percentage of my reading than other genres. I do prefer reading adult books, and I thought, well, there's gotta be an audience of people out there who might also prefer reading adult books, or at least be interested in being pushed to read more adult literature, and also perhaps other genres that aren't just fantasy. The third question is, what are you most excited about for this new channel? And one of the most exciting things has been just interacting with people in my comments and on other versions of social media that I have found through BookTube. It's really cool to hear other people's opinions on books that I've read or thought about reading, and then to share my opinions on books that other people are considering reading as well. It's also going to be really exciting to start something from basically nothing and see how far I can take it. And this is also very different from anything I've done. I've never sat down in front of a camera and recorded myself and then proceeded to edit myself as well. It's a very new experience for sure. Fourth question, why do you love reading? I read for 2 main reasons, to learn something new and to be entertained. So I love reading about experiences of people that are different from me or have had different life experiences, and that's where the fiction comes in and often the entertainment as well. I love reading grand stories, so probably one of my favorite series is the Stormlight Archive that is currently being written by Brandon Sanderson. It's a phenomenal world that he's put together, and that amazes me. And I love walking away from a book knowing more about the world than I did when I started the book, and that's where nonfiction comes in. So if I've come across something that I don't know much about, I'll try to find a book about it and teach myself more on this topic. Fifth question, what book or series got you into reading? My earliest memory of books were those Franklin the Turtle books. I know there was like a TV show on Franklin as well that I watched. I really liked that turtle for some reason. And I remember in my elementary school, we would have this Scholastic book fair during lunch. It was probably a couple of times a year, and I would so look forward to it. So I'd go there. I picked up a bunch of Franklin the Turtle books, and I would take those home and read them and reread them over and over again. I also got into, when I was in middle school and got a library card and was able to go to a library by myself after school, I know that I really got into the Harry Potter books and also Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. I know I read all of those books as well. Sixth question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers. I think the one question that I would have is how their reading habits have changed since starting BookTube. Because even though I've only been at this for such a short amount of time, I feel like when I'm reading now, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say about this book later on or this experience. So my reading is a little bit more critical because I know that I'm going to have to review. So I'm actively thinking now about what I like and what I don't like about a particular book, whereas before I would just read it and be done. I think this is both a good and a bad thing. My reading now has more of an underlying purpose to it, but at the same time, I am being forced to be more critical of the things that I read, and I think that that's a good thing. Seventh question, what challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? For me personally, using social media a little bit more often and effectively will be a challenge. It's not something that I do in my personal life very much, but I've started trying to keep up more with Instagram and Twitter, and I'm finding that the reasons why I never had a personal Twitter account are coming to fruition with having now a BookTube Twitter account. Yeah, having access to people's random thoughts over and over again, it's exhausting, but I'm trying to increase my usage there, just a little bit. There is also, of course, the hurdle that we're talking about now, being Black on BookTube. There are a couple of videos that I've seen posted on that, and before joining BookTube, that's not something that I thought would be a huge challenge to overcome, but I think we're all more aware of that. You won't see me make a video on it. I have, at the time of filming, like 5 subscribers, so quite frankly, I don't have the following for a video like that to be impactful. Because of my profession and because of the places that I've worked, race and racism have been a conversation that I've been having for a very long time. It's been a major part of my teacher training, and it's been a significant focus of my master's degree program. And I think that the impact that I can make there is much more significant. The 8th question is, when did you start reading? And I started reading, I believe this would be kindergarten, first grade. So I was talking earlier about my memories of book fairs. Yeah, so whenever I learned to read in school, that's when I started reading books. And I may have fallen a little bit off the wagon in high school, college, when things got a little bit busier. And in the last couple years, maybe 3 or 4 years, when things have settled down more into adult life, I've been able to pick it up even more. Where do you read? Actually, the spot that you see behind me, this is where I do most of my reading. And I don't know if this is super weird, but I read in long spurts. So I can read for 4 to 5 hours at a time, just sitting here on my Kindle and listening to an audiobook. So I can read a book in 1 or 2 nights, and I prefer it that way. I prefer to just get it done as quickly as possible, and then I'll maybe take a couple days, and then I'll move on to my next book. And if it's a really good month, then I'll do this over and over again. But if it's a month where I would rather spend more time focused on other pursuits, I may only get a couple of books done, but it's still done in that manner. And back when going into work was a thing, I also tended to read during my lunch break. The last question is, what kind of books do you like? And I would say that my favorite category of books are thriller, suspense, horror, not like massive horror, more like Stephen King horror, crime thrillers, legal thrillers. Love those kinds of books. I'm not sure exactly why, but they are my favorite. And then I also do like to read 1 or 2 nonfiction books a month. Some months, some more than others. And I tend to focus most of my reading on adult books. You will see the occasional YA book though. I have nothing against YA, but the majority of my reading is adult. All right, and that's it for the BookTube tag questions. I hope that you guys like this video and that you subscribe to see more videos from me. And if you have time, check out some of the other videos that are already up on my channel. Till next time.